Hey guys, this is Dr. Aeronautics. Today we're going to be doing the third scenario in Washington to Baltimore NEC add-on for Train Simulator 2021. This is Supercell. We're going to be operating an Acela Express during a evening severe thunderstorm, which, being in the area, know that in July and August there is the, quote, promise of an afternoon thunderstorm. You've got humid air coming up from the Gulf. You've got humid air coming up the Chesapeake Bay. And every single afternoon between the hours of about 2 p.m. and midnight, there is a line of storms that moves across the area. Some of them are not so bad. Others are supercell. And then there's the D word. Say derecho in anywhere in Washington, DC and Baltimore, and you will start trending. So here we go. This is Supercell. You know, I really like a diverse set of scenarios. Don't make it sunny and 75 summer every single scenario. I want to see all hours of the day and night, rain, shine, snow, raining cats and dogs, etc. Okay, here's our briefing. Good evening. Tonight we will operate Acela Express 2171 from Baltimore to Washington. The weather has been getting progressively worse throughout the evening. There hasn't been any incidents yet, but remain vigilant at all times. Begin boarding and unloading passengers. Let me see if I can get our cruise control to... That's so weird. The old one, it used to be you would switch the cruise control and then you would set the dial where you want it, and this little red triangle would move. I'm not sure why it's not. Kind of annoying. We need to get the wiper on. So yeah, this part of the world generally, severe thunderstorms is, you know, like the natural disaster of choice. It can get worse than that. Sometimes there's hurricanes, but normally that's what it is. Okay, ready to depart Baltimore. Proceed on signal indication. Well, I don't have a signal indication. It's telling me signal speed is 0. So maybe we're going to sit for a little bit. Guess we should just roll forward and see what happens when we go past that first signal. Strange not to have an indication if we can. Okay, we're clear. I don't think that's the fault of the route. I think it might have something to do with the game. Some sort of game glitch. That's a little unfortunate. So yeah, most derechos don't make it over the Appalachian Mountains, but every once in a while you get one that's particularly strong and it persists all the way through to the East Coast. And there is a definite cutoff of trains on the Northeast Corridor around 10 p.m. It gets really quiet until about 4 a.m. Trains still do run. There's one or two midnights Northeast regionals, but I do not think that Acela runs in the deep night. Whoops, that's the lights. I wanted the wipers. And also, it should be stated that this is the hardest level of career scenario. I believe that's difficulty level of 5. Basically, it's 5 deep red bars. So I'm expecting this one to be quite a challenge. Not exactly sure what's going to happen, but I can tell you that typically this route takes half an hour, and it's scheduled to take 55 minutes. So we're probably going to see something really insane. And I think this can be another one of those speculation episodes. This time I'm going to try to get to the speculation before it's revealed away, because I feel like last time in the Tracks Are for Trains scenario, I kind of waited too long and got too many hints, and that kind of ruined the fun for me. So this time, what do we have? We have floods. So our options are for flooding are flood of the Patuxent, which where it is not unheard of, but pretty uncommon because the Patuxent is tidal at that point. Flooding of the Patuxent, which actually happens a lot, and has washed out Brockbridge Road. And I think one time, yes, they did have to shut down the NEC due to flooding one time. I think it was actually just this past year, to be honest. I do remember the NEC being... No, it was the Anacostia. Yeah. So the Anacostia floods too, and I remember a time when the Anacostia actually shut down rail traffic on the Northeast Corridor for a period of time. So we have flooding of the rivers. Those 3 rivers are prime suspects. I suppose you could also count the Little Patuxent as well. The Little Patuxent is famous for flooding because it causes issues in Columbia, Maryland, where they have to discharge raw sewage into the Little Patuxent because their system is overwhelmed. So there are four options for flooding the rivers, and that's the major flooding concerns. The other concern about this is wind concern. So we could see some wind issues on bridges, pretty much right around where the rivers are going to be. So you have the winds on bridges and maybe open areas like BWI runway 10 would be an area where the winds could really pick up. Other than that, I don't see too many potentials. So there's the winds, and then there's tornadoes. They are rare, but they do occur around here. In fact, Maryland, I think, is the highest state per square mile that has recorded tornadoes outside of classic Tornado Alley and the Southern Belt. So like Mississippi, Alabama, those places. So with tornado, that makes 3. The other option is lightning strike kills a transformer, and we need electrical power to be able to operate the train. So that is the 4th option. So I say that, okay, CETC1 train dispatcher to Acela Express 2171. This is 2171. Go ahead, dispatch over. I have a report of a down tree at Seabrook, which may have struck the catenary of number 3 track. We'll contact you again shortly with additional details and guidance. Over. Roger, CETC1, over and out. Okay, so I didn't get far enough to anticipate that scenario. I was hoping we would be able to outguess it in time, but yeah, that didn't happen. So yeah, as you saw from earlier videos, this area is covered in trees. And a tree down is a very common scenario. It'll shut down 95, it'll shut down the Parkway, it'll shut down the NEC, depending on how many tracks it's across and what the situation with the catenary is. But we did guess that it could be catenary related, so we got that going. Anyway, we're standing by for more details to figure out what else is going on here. It makes it so much more believable when something really happens for real. You know, that a tree down on the track because of a severe thunderstorm is something that you would definitely see on this line in real life. And the cool thing is, this actually pays homage to the original train simulator, where there was a scenario called After the Storm. And it took place slightly after the storm, but there was a tree down and you had restricted indications. So that was pretty fun. And it's kind of nice, you know, this is sort of recreating. TC1 did train dispatcher to Acela Express 2171 over. This is 2171 over. Dispatcher, sustained winds have exceeded the 50 mile per hour threshold. Proceed not exceeding 60 miles per hour until instructed otherwise. Roger, CTC1, proceeding not exceeding 60 miles per hour. Over and out. Wow, that's crazy. So, we did guess that one, high winds. And it was right around the Patuxent River. Not necessarily on it, but close by. Well, this would explain how, this would explain why it takes 55 minutes to do the scenario. This is a situation where it would be good for a driver reminder appliance, because there's a good chance that when I take off from BWI, I'm not going to remember to adhere to the 60 mile per hour maximum speed limit. Well, no matter what kind of day we're having, I'm sure the airport is having an even worse day. You don't want to drive a train in this, you certainly don't want to fly in it. And it might be below BWI's minimums for 1-0. Now I'm curious to know if we're going to have dynamic weather, you know, that changes the effects as we stop and keep moving. Wouldn't it be interesting if they could simulate hail? I've never seen hail in a train simulator. Sounds really windy out there. TS2021, okay to go, and I remember 60 miles per hour, that's our limit. I'd imagine it'd be even worse in wind for double-deckers. Greater side surface area. One nice thing about the Acela Express is the windows have bulletproof glass, even for the passengers. We'll take a 3-pound ball bearing at 150 miles an hour to not break. So, barring anything short of like an EF4 tornado, the train should be fine. Now, interestingly enough, even though we're on the number 3 track, we are moving slower than 60 miles per hour, which means that we do not have to operate the bell as we pass Odinton Station, assuming that we are not switching tracks. probably milepost 110 that we just passed. It's cool. The lights from that industrial facility glowed on the forest on the opposite side of the tracks as it would have realistically. So that's pretty cool. Dynamic lighting. All right. Hopefully, we're going to get an update on our weather situation shortly. Okay, now milepost 124 is Seabrook, so something is going to happen down there. Just going by the fact that there's a go via. Usually, when you see something like that, you'll get a triggered message that comes up. Although not always, as you saw with Grove interlocking. I figured they were going to update something, tell me about something, but that was not the case. Okay, here's the Odinton Station. Again, because I'm going under 60 miles an hour, I don't have to ring the bell. And after we pass the maintenance of way yard, we're going to be getting to a somewhat concerning segment of the line. I certainly wouldn't want to be driving through this area during a major thunderstorm. This is the empty zone between, and I never really thought about it this way until now. There's a really big empty area between Piney Orchard and Bowie State University where there's nothing. When I say nothing, I mean literally nothing except fireworks. And why is that? Because we're in between two major cities, which the suburbs of which have urban sprawl to the point where they coagulate. CTC1D train dispatcher to Acela Express 2171, over. This is 2171. Any news on that tree? Over. We can confirm that the tree is in the catenary for number 3 only. The crew there says that travel through the area on number 1 track will be safe. I'm going to route you to the number 1 at Bowie. Proceed at restricted speed, not exceeding 10 miles per hour, between milepost 124 and 125. Sound the horn for work crew as necessary. Over. Roger, CTC, I'll proceed at restricted speed not exceeding 10 miles per hour between milepost 124 and 125 and sound the horn as necessary. Over and out. You know what's crazy is that's the second time that that message has timed out at exactly when I was finished reading. I wonder if there's like some sort of behavioral science behind why it took me to read it exactly as long as why I did, and that's why they timed it out. Yeah, so anyway, why the empty region between the Patuxent and Little Patuxent rivers, plus 2 miles on either side? Well, that would be the Patuxent Wildlife Refuge. They own all the land between Bowie State University and Piney Orchard. And there is absolutely no development. It is maintained as a forest. Which is kind of nice because it preserves a significant portion of the Patuxent River area. You know, it's already got enough sewage going down it from the Columbia. Let's see, 7 miles from 124, so we're at 117. So we probably just crossed the Little Patuxent around now. So when we see 6 per mile post 124, 6 away from, that will tell us that we have passed the big Patuxent River. And then shortly thereafter, we should see the lights for Bowie State University. And once we pass that area, we're in the clear. There are suburbs, not necessarily next to the tracks, but they're out there. You go a short distance away, no further than a mile. Okay, this big downhill gradient should take us over the Patuxent River, and then we'll start going up again towards Bowie State. Yep, I think I just saw the bridge there. Okay, so that is an approach medium, but in this case we're showing a signal speed of 20, not 30, so... And that's to be expected because that's actually the buoy signal that's coming up. Okay, any moment now we should start being able to see the lights at Bowie State Station. Okay, there it is. Okay, and signal indication is telling me to get down to 20 miles per hour. It's probably going to be 45 because, you know, that's what happens with these things is, you know, this will say 20 and then the HUD says 45 and then I'll see a medium clear, which is typically 30 miles an hour. all three are in disagreement. That seems to be the only problem with this game so far. And I'm not even sure if it's really a fault of the download. It just might be a game limitation. I'll slow down to 20, and if I don't get the reduction to 20 miles an hour, I'll accelerate right back to 45. Okay, we're at milepost 120.1. This is where we saw the trespassers, actually. Oh, yes, now it's saying 45. And that says approach limited, whereas the signal indication is an approach medium. Oh, I love this disagreement. Alright, back up to 45 it is. Okay, crossing from number 3 to number 2. Crossing from number 2 to number 1. Okay, and then now this is the buoy Y. So we're almost at milepost 121. Okay, that signal on the left is for the buoy south leg Y. Coal trains from the Popes Creek branch come this way. Whoa, what in the world? Man, that was annoying. So we had been cleared back up to full line speed, and then we went back down to 45 miles an hour. It's still displaying a signal speed of 45 miles per hour. So I'm not exactly sure why that happened. That really bugged me because I was doing so well. Okay, milepost 122, we're going to be passing now. Okay, and now our signal's clearing again. That is really annoying. Okay, this is the restricted zone. We can't exceed 10 miles per hour through this section. So at this speed, a mile takes 6 minutes. So we entered this around 53. We'll be getting out of it around 59. There they are. Wow, good simulation. There it is. Yep, west to east prevailing wind. Very nice. And I think I saw, that was either blue flag protection that I think I saw, or perhaps the pantograph spark. Not sure which. This must look weird to a Seabrook passenger, and Acela Express going so slowly it looks like it's going to stop. Oh man, I don't like that these platforms aren't simulated for high level. I definitely miss that night view. Okay, Iron Horse is off. Looks like they're going to put us back on the number 2 or number 3 coming up at Carroll, interlocking. So it looks like it put us on number 2. Yeah, so I think I'm getting a hand of these signals. I think what it means is basically you need to obey the aspect that's shown on the cab signal display, but follow the speed limit that's on the HUD, regardless of what you see on the cab signal display. Because, yeah, I mean, what was displayed is an approach medium, which means obey medium speed, 30 miles an hour, through the interlocking. But the signal speed says 20, not 30. And then the trackside speed limit says 45. So we've basically got 3 disagreements, and it seems like the only true answer is you obey the indication that is provided on the cab signal display and the speed that you see on the heads-up display. And my guess is part of the decision to add the wind for 60 miles per hour might be because of short indications being on the wrong track. So you might not have enough time to slow down to the correct speed because tracks weren't signaled to run in the opposite direction. For example, track 1 was always meant to be a northbound track. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so now we've cleared that interlock and we can go back up to our temporary line speed. It's going to be fun when we get into Washington, because we'll suddenly be able to see everything again. I was hoping we would hear some thunder at some point. I know we heard lots of wind, but it would have been cool to hear some good old thunder. My guess is when we reach the 95 speed section, that's when we should start to be able to see more. Although I'm starting to see some buildings beside the tracks already, which is a nice change. I saw their New York Avenue just crossed from the right side to the left side of the tracks, which means we're getting close. My guess on that signal indication is a diverging approach. once again, the signal speed is saying we have a clear, so... Very strange how things are working out. I'm surprised we haven't been able to see more at this point. We're deep into the coach yards for Washington DC now. Looks like both are displaying approach. I wanted to make sure I could stop in time if I needed to for the second signal. It's good. The H signal is showing approach, so we're good. Now this is the kind of weather that I would like to be under the building for. What are those guys doing? Looks like they're having a jam. Oh, that looks like an animation error right there. Well, the good news is we're early, so we'll get the full credit here. It's too bad that we misread the, well, I misread that signal indication at the buoy interlocking, because I probably would have done a heck of a lot better. I think we did lose 20 points somewhere, so I doubt that we're going to hit 900. But this was quite a nice scenario to play for sure. Oh my gosh, we hit 900. Excellent work. Secure the locomotive, and then your shift will be completed. Sounds good. I'll put the pantograph down for good. And turn the screen. All right, we got gold. Well, I'll settle for that. So I think I've got the hand of how the signaling quirks work in this scenario. The key is you need to obey the signal as displayed on the cab signal display, but your speed limit doesn't come from the signal speed. It comes from what's on the route line. So I think if you follow that, it'll keep things less wishy-washy about what you're supposed to do. Well, thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.